What's the matter, Kakarot?
Everybody, and welcome to another Sunday morning with the Blerd Church of Anime. I hope you are having a fantastic week. The last week of Black History Month, going into now the first day, the first Sunday of Women's History Month as we move our way from February to March. Boy, last week was busy for me. I had a couple of shows, something I was producing. And, there's a lot of running around, getting things together. And both shows ended up being great. The Purdue show was more amazing than I was expecting. So I feel like a lot of the hard work I put into last week really came to fruition. I'm hoping that this week can be a little bit calmer, but I know it won't be super calm because I'm going to a Anime Con at the end of the week. That's right, I will be at Blerd Con. As I've been mentioning before, Blerd Church of Anime will be doing our regular Sunday morning panel at Blerd Con in Crystal City, Virginia, aka Washington, D.C., on March 8th. Put the flyer up here so you can see it. You can come if you are in the DC area and have a ticket to Blerd Con. I hope we will see you live for our testimony service. Now, let's say you didn't have a good week last week. Well, then F last week. You should be trying to get the BlerdCon for this coming week so you can have a better week or weekend. And if you can't get a BlerdCon, I understand. Money be tight, travel, all the stuff. No worries. You listened to this episode late. Didn't know about it. It's cool. I just hope that, you are able to do the things you need to do to keep you happy, motivated, despite the absolute craziness that is going on around the world, and especially because of my home country, the US of A. But we're not going to talk about that this week. I don't think I am in a mental place to talk about all of the stuff happening. What I did want to talk about, and keep it really short because I'm gearing up for, the live stream testimony service from BlerdCon next week. But I was thinking about found family. And because, again, BlerdCon feels like a found family moment, being able to go to a convention, see all the nerdy Black people out there, finding friends, which I found I've been part of some amazing groups because of BlerdCon, found tons of friends as an adult who live all over the country because of BlerdCon, and just, really vibing with people who, get you. And as I was thinking, this is getting really close to the Finding Your Namaka conversation we had very early when I first started the podcast about fairy tale. And I didn't want to reuse one piece quite yet until I get caught out from where I quit. I kept thinking about found family, finding people, finding your tribe, cults. And I was like, yeah, we're not getting to cults quite yet. I have a lot to say about cults. I instead was like, okay, what's another anime I could talk about found family? And it came to me, what is a better family anime to talk about besides Spy X Family? That's right, Spy X Family. In a wonderful, kind of slice of life-ish anime manga. And I'm about to do a little bit of some information for y'all who, haven't seen this anime, don't know what I'm talking about. Spy X Family is a story about a made-up family that are all kind of put together in the circumstances, basically to help this spy infiltrate this whole thing. I'm not going to give you too much information, but I will give you some so you can walk with me through this. Because I think it's so funny that when I first started watching Spy X Family, I was like, how can this fake family be one of the most healthy, non-toxic families I've seen, not just in media in general, but comparing it to real life people. And of course, real life and media, two different things. We're just using media to inform our lives and to make sense of it. I will also say that I am not a family therapist, and this is not, trying to do any of the counseling around this. I am simply a spiritual practitioner who likes to look at anime and see where we can get those lessons for our lives in another way. But as I was saying, so Spy X Family, let's kind of go through how this family was made. All right, so we're going to start off with the father, aka Twilight. Twilight is a renowned spy. No one, a million faces. Nobody knows what Twilight looks like. Twilight is this amazing super spy who is trying to stop a war between these two neighboring countries. And so he's like infiltrated into this one country. And for him to help make sure that there is not a war, he's giving a new assignment, top secret assignment, where he has to pretend to be a family man and get his kid into a prestigious school in this country in hopes of meeting this kind of like pro-war leader, faction leader, whose kids also go to the school. So what does a spy, a lonely spy do? Is now he has to create a family to do the thing. So Twilight now has the new name Lloyd Voyager. And the first thing Lloyd needs is a kid. Enter Anya. Anya is an orphan from this country. Lloyd goes to go, find hopefully an orphan that would be smart enough to get into this prestigious rich school. And he finds Anya. And Anya's big secret is that she's a psychic. She reads minds. Now, she doesn't tell the future. She reads minds. So she knows that Lloyd is a spy, but she's like loves spy movies and the spy show, so she wants to be adopted by the spy. Cool. So Lloyd picks up a child, Anya, to get her into the school. There's a little wrinkle to this. Apparently the school is real classist. And so you can't just be a single dad with a good job trying to get a child. No. You need to be a traditional family. So now Lloyd, aka Twilight, needs a wife. So where does he find a wife? And Yor. First off, love Yor. If you talk to anybody who is a fan of the show, Yor will always be like, I've yet to find a black person who doesn't like Yor, okay? Anyway, so then you have Yor, and you're wondering, okay, why would Yor decide to help out a spy from a like potentially hostile country in his fake bid to create a family? Well, Yor doesn't know that Twilight's a spy, but Yor also has a secret. She is a government assassin. And she's socially awkward, which is adorable. And she worries that being unmarried, unhitched at her age will make it seem like she is shady and get her turned into the secret police when technically she's a government assassin. Whew. So when Lloyd comes around being like, do you want to be a pretend wife for me? She's like, oh, that works great because I'm worried about my coworkers turning me into the secret police. So to recap, you have a super secret spy from a potential hostile neighboring nation, a child who can read minds, not psycho, a psychic child, and then you have a government assassin. All created to make this picture perfect family. What could go wrong? So yeah, that is the premise of Spy X Family. It is a fun ride. I definitely think people should just watch it, enjoy it for all the little episodes. And again, Yor is the best. I love her. But then you're wondering, okay, so how is this a healthy family dynamic where everybody has secrets and everybody is kind of lying to each other? It's a perfect family means to just lie? First off, I think everybody has their secrets. I don't think you're 100% real with anybody, whether it be friends, family, none of it. But I think you having those secrets leans to this particular thing that the Folgers, which, headed up by Lloyd and then yours, the mom, and then Anya, do really well is that because this is a pretend family, because they have so much at stake, they do a really freaking good job of paying attention to each other and trying to anticipate what the next person wants. Twilight is trying his darndest to be the perfect husband, the perfect father, in like the eyes of the people in his family, because again, he doesn't want them to know that he's a spy or be dissatisfied with their fake arrangements because his whole plan could come tumbling down. But also he has to keep up appearances so that no one thinks, oh, this is a terrible family or they're not prestigious enough to be at the school and blah, blah, blah. So Lloyd in particular pays so much attention to trying to understand what Anya is trying to do and to make sure she's like doing her work and being a very loving and caring and sometimes has to be a little bit more strict father to make sure that she's behaving the way she does and like he's reading child psychology and all this other things to make sure he is being the perfect father that no one can suspect that they're weird or off balance or not a real family. He pays attention a lot to Yor and trying to figure out, is she happy in their pretend marriage? Is he doing everything to make her feel and seem to the people she needs this like marriage to work out like they are a happy, loving couple, even though they like just met. And got married very, very fast. And that's not just with her coworkers, it's with her brother, her family. You gotta, make these appearances. And Lloyd generally doesn't want her to be dissatisfied. So he's doing a lot to try to make sure that that relationship works. And I think that's the first thing that happens within this fake family is that because there's a lot to lose and they feel there's a lot to lose because of their fake status, there's a huge piece of them trying to make sure everybody else is happy. There's asking of questions. There's noticing small cues. There's check-ins. Like Lloyd just doesn't leave it a chance to be like, haha, I married this person. I'm out here doing my job as a spy and my day job as a psychiatrist and my cover story, blah, blah, blah. He is literally out here being like, okay, I need to get home at a certain time so that way my family doesn't feel neglected. And oh no, Anya's acting out. What can I do to make sure that this, like, he is doing the work. This man is literally doing the work. Second, there is a bit of vulnerability that happens between the three of them as well. Yor, again, as I mentioned, she is a little socially inept. She knows that she's not she's trying really hard to be a good wife and a good mother. But again, that is not something she's ever had to do before. And so she's asking a lot of questions. She's trying to be as helpful as possible. So she's not just taking this position of being like, okay, I'm here. Y'all served my needs. She's like, okay, no, how do I hold up my end of the bargain? Yor is notoriously a bad cook. Like, she's terrible at cooking, but she's like a traditional mom cooks. So I'm going to work at it. I'm going to learn how to be better. She wants to be a good mom to Anya. She doesn't know that Anya and Lloyd are not really father and daughter. She has no idea that Anya came from a orphanage. So she's just wondering, like, how can I be, a stable, familiar figure for Anya, the same way that her father Lloyd is, and keep her happy and make her know that she can lean on me even though she's already lost one mother, because that's the cover story. So she's doing so much and she's asking questions and she's putting herself out there to do something that's very different and very sometimes difficult for her. And I think that's another thing about this family is that they try and do difficult things to make the other person happy and to live up to their role as defined. And then finally, you have Anya. Anya's a child, so we give her a lot of grace. She knows that Lloyd is a spy, but she also knows that Yor is an assassin. And, she thinks that's cool, but very scary. She prefers spy over an assassin. But she has two very cool parents. But she also knows that if the missions don't go well, she's back on the street or back in the orphanage, or the family unit that she really loves will dissipate. And so she's also trying her best in her own weird way, God bless Anya, to help. And she does tend to be the person with a little bit more information because, again, she can read minds, she can tell when things are happening. She kind of does help, like, get the story started on some of the more action-packed pieces. And then she does it, but she has to do it in a way that nobody knows that she, like, can read minds. So she's doing all these things and helping out in these different ways, but she won't get the credit for it. Like, no one's going to be like, oh my gosh, Anya helped us save the blah, blah, or Anya noticed this thing and now we can stop this suicide bomber. No, she has to play kind of dumb so that they don't know about her powers. And what I love about that for Anya is, and it all shows us that sometimes you do the hard work and don't get the recognition. That it's not always about people being like, yes, thank you so much for doing this thing. Thank you so much for, showing us this way. Sometimes you just gotta sometimes embarrass yourself to lead people to the route you need them to for everybody's well-being. So it's really interesting to see this family of people, keeping secrets, secret identities, secret powers, doing like the everyday work that we should be doing in our own families and relationships. And again, I preach found family all day long. I am such a big person that blood doesn't mean that's the only way you can have familiar ties. Like, and I know a lot of times I pull this out for when it comes to friends or finding your folk. I'm a big fan of adoption and fostering. So, if you're out there and you have space, foster kids, adopt kids, like, I'm gonna put it out here. So keep this with a grain of salt. I am child free. I ain't got no kids. Don't plan on having any kids, but I know there's a point in my life where I do truly want to foster, because I think there's a lot of kids out there who just need adults who care about them and provide them a safe space. And there's not enough people, especially with a lot of people deciding to have kids and not being well equipped to take care of kids. I watch a lot of anime where like the adventurer finds a random child out in the woods, or say, you know what, I will admit I've seen more than four animes about this thing. And I always watch these animes and I think, okay, random male adventurer normally, single young guy, finds one kid, two kid, whatever kids, and decides I want to protect them, I want to take care of them, I'm going to put them in my wings and we'll go to adventure together with these kids. And the way they really talk about, or the way they feel about the kid, we're like, I don't want to go to work, I don't want to be separate from my child, I want to be there to make sure everything is good. Like, are they okay, are they fed, are they happy, are they sad, they've gone through this traumatic past, blah blah blah. I think those are the type of people who need to be fostering and adopting. Or even if you have a kid, like, I think you need to be obsessed with your kid just a little bit if you're gonna have children. I'm putting that out there, grain of salt though. I don't have a cow. I don't have a child with me every day of the week. So I also know that those who have kids, you're totally allowed, and totally, it is viable and makes sense that sometimes you get tired and you have to say F them kids every once in a while. I get it. But at the end of the day, you should be obsessed with your kids and wanting to make sure that they're happy and taken care of and thriving, and you're going to be there to protect them. My 2 cents, getting off topic. But again, I think it's really interesting that in this found family context of people with secrets and people trying to hide parts of themselves, that a lot of what makes the dynamic work is that they are trying to do for the other members of their family. And I think you can't have a relationship, a strong unit, whether it be friendships, groups, clans, cliques, whatever you want to call it, if people are not trying to support each other intentionally. Like, that, this doesn't happen randomly. I know some people are in friend groups where you have one or two people, or you may have families where there's like one person, most normally the mom, um, who does for everybody, and that keeps the unit together. That keeps people feeling like this happens effortlessly, and it doesn't. Somebody is putting the work in. And a good family unit, a good family dynamic of relationship is when everybody is putting in the work to make sure that everybody is good and they're accomplishing what they need to accomplish, that they're happy, they're maintaining, and they check in with each other. That's it. I don't think you need to have a terrible family relationship to be happy about finding family outside of your blood. I think people who have just fine family should feel free to bring some of that good energy and some of that positive experiences to folk who didn't have great experiences with family for whatever reason. I think people need to see what a relationship that is healthy and see what it looks like, and be encouraged to continue to do that stuff. And I think Lloyd knows healthy families because he had to study it in order to be a good spy. Because Anya and Yor are a little dense, but they're good people and they mean well, and they want to maintain the family unit that they've been able to create with Lloyd, and so they're willing to do their own work as well. Again, if you haven't seen Spy X Family, it is a riot. You should watch it. Um, but also, send me a Blerd guide. Come be part of this found family of the Blerd Church of Anime. I hope I will see you at BlerdCon, possibly, maybe. Again, I'm shouting this out so hard, so y'all come through. Okay, till next time, bye! The Blerd Church of Anime podcast is produced by Black Star, aka Lauren Tillman, written by Lauren Tillman, and hosted by Lauren Tillman. Music created by EL47.